Welcome to another episode of Pakistan on a Plate. My name is Nilofer Afridi Qazi. Exploring by region, Pakistan's culinary heritage has uncovered amazing recipes. Although some of our heritage recipes have emerged from the histories of specific communities, not from a region per se. Today, we explore the Memons culinary culture in Pakistan and their story. Karachi is the home of the largest Memon community in Pakistan. Estimated around 11 million citizens. Some of the neighbourhoods of the Memons are Khara Dar, Meetha Dar, Motan Das Market, Dhuraji, Burns Road, Thana. We are lucky today we begin this adventure guided by Dr. Zebu Ashraf, a student of Memon history. All things begin with food markets. This is the most popular Memon bazaar in Karachi, Dhuraji. I love open-air markets and the many wonderful adventures we find.
So these are typical Memon mithais.
Okay.
And this is called gur papdi. It's made of gur and wheat flour, and there's lots of gum and dry fruits. This is called uradiya because it's made from mash ki dal, and Memons call the mash ki dal urad ki dal. And this again also has lots of gum and dry fruits, and it's the main base is the urad ki dal. And this is ande ka mesoob. These three are basically very hot favorites of the Memons during the winter season because it gives you a lot of strength. Jis tarah pie. Acha, I'm going to show you this alag desi nashta that I'll tell you about, made of green lassan.
Yes, I'm dying.
Lassan is, इसी मौसम में लहसुन होता है, तो उस वजह से, again, that's a hot favorite for breakfast, basically.
Yes. Why is mithai called sweetmeats? In the colonial period, all food whether vegetarian and non-vegetarian were referred to as meat. Thus, mithai became sweet meat or sweet food. Mithai comes from the word mitha, sweet. In Memoni, it is called mithan. We continue to roam the market. Papadum, or papad as we call it locally, is made from urad dal, and it is a common street snack here, but its origins are from across the border. Papad for most Pakistanis outside of Karachi is made from rice flour, while the Memon style recipe uses urad dal. By the way, this crispy, crunchy snack, parpata means flattened discs in Sanskrit. I love the various varieties of red chili. Just look at these. Lots of chilies. Makana dried lotus flour are like popcorns, which are a common snack. रियाज साहब, मुझे जरा बता सकते हैं ये लाल लाल चीज क्या है?
भाजी ये बादाम कहलाता है, लाल बादाम कहलाता है।
लाल बादाम
जी।
और ये फल है, ये क्या है?
ये फ्रेश फ्रूट में आता है जी, फल है।
ये कहाँ उगता है?
ये दुनिया में जो भी सहारा, जहाँ भी मतलब सहारा के किनारे पे मतलब
समुंदर के साथ?
जी।
Some other interesting ingredients we found. Manda are large thin rotis which are cut into multiple sizes and shapes to make multiple recipes. Lots and lots of fish. This alone tells you how different this cuisine is going to be. Most Pakistanis, even in Karachi, don't really have seafood or river fish regularly. But Memons regularly have pomfrey and surmai. Lots of fish. Some of the more unusual ingredients I came across are Hara Lassan, green garlic, an ingredient my friend Asmat Jafar first introduced me to, and later my maestro chef Haya Iman, a culinary chef in New York, showed me how to make. This is a recipe we will share later on in this episode. I just loved it. We continue to roam the market. Let's ask Dr. Zebu about her community and her history. Who are the Memons?
There are many theories related with the origins of the Memons, but the one most commonly accepted one is that they lived in Thatta, which was the center of trading. It was a trading hub in those times.
That's correct.
At that time, one of the descendants of Pir Qadir Gilani, Abdul Qadir Gilani, Iraq. So 13th, 14th descendant the who came to the subcontinent. He dreamt of Pir Gilani to that he was telling him to go to the subcontinent and try the dawa and try to convert people into to convert to Islam. So he comes to the subcontinent. He ironically he lands up in Sindh, and that's where he meets the Lohanas. The Lohanas are the local people.
Rajas.
They were Hindus. Yes, they were Hindus, and there were 84 castes of this particular Lohana tribe.
All right.
So one tribe was more influenced with Pir Yusufuddin's teachings, and they converted to Islam. And therefore, this particular caste or group was ostracized. They were socially, economically boycotted. So there was no link as such. They were totally unko bilkul hi wo kar diya
So
gaya
we
tha.
can safely say, and there are a couple of myths here, that the Memon community actually originated from Thatta and are descendants of the Lohanas.
Yes,
Because one of the tribes or the subcastes of the Lohanas converted
to Islam.
to Islam. How very interesting. So the original language of the Memons is Sindhi, not Gujarati.
Yes. No, not Gujarati at all. No. Not. I'll tell you about it. So it was Sindhi, and then because of this ostracization, there were other issues, social issues as well. So I'll just keep it to the point. This is what made them realize that they couldn't survive economically. अगर boycott कर जाते हैं तो फिर कैसे survive होगा? So therefore they migrated to Kuch, which was already a part of their trading network.
Of course.
Okay, so they moved on to Kuch. Bhuj is the capital of Kuch, and therefore they all moved to Bhuj. And out of roughly about 700 families, 600 families moved on to Bhuj and Kuch. 100 of them stayed back. So those who stayed back were and are still known as the Sindhi Memons.
That's correct.
And then this group of people who went to Bhuj, Kuch, they are known as the Kachi Memons.
Achha.
And further still, there were more people who wanted to look into more. See, there's always the push and the pull factor.
Yes.
So economic reasons were the main reasons why they moved on to Katiawar.
Which is why most immigrants move.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is a global phenomenon.
Absolutely.
I met Sindhi Memons in Khairpur. Yes.
Then the Kachi Memons who preferred to stay in Bhuj, but there were the others who wanted to move forward in Katiawar. So they are then known as the Kathiawadi Memons. So basically there are just three main divisions of Memons.
Kathiawars,
Kathiawadis, Kachis, and the Sindhi Memons.
Let's now go to food. Today, Memoni food is influenced primarily by Gujarati, Kutch and Sindhi ingredients.
You could say that, but also again for economic reasons, when these the Kathiawadi Memons, they moved on to further locations. They went to South Burma, they went to Bombay, and they just spread everywhere.
That brings me to the Burmese connection, because the first time I had a Burmese causeway, I assumed it was only Burmese, but I've had Memon causeway. So what's the connection to that?
It's because the Memons moved to Burma. They lived there. They had their businesses there. There were two very famous personalities. One was Sir Jamal, who became well known as the Rice King of Burma. And then there was Sir Adamji Haji Dawood, my great grandfather, who was well known as the Sugar King. Sorry, the Jute King. The Jute King. So because yes, they were rice traders, and he was the jute trader, and he had the largest match factory as well, where matches were made from teak wood in Burma.
Can you
imagine that?
What would you say is Memoni in the Pakistan sense?
All right, सबसे पहले to top everything on the list is the salan. Okay, the salan, which is of course uska base, onions and sab kuch hota hai. The salan can be made from beef, mutton or chicken. It's had with baghare chawal, which is usually a zira pulao in common terms. And then there's this round wheat ball, that's a dessert basically. So crushed wheat mixed with gur. So, and then it's steamed. So that's called malida. So malida, salan and chawal. ये एक सबसे most
essentially.
हाँ, बिल्कुल.
And there is a very interesting story of Christ and the Memons. What is that?
Yes, it's not exactly the Memons. We can't say Memons because in Sindh, cotton was grown.
Yes.
And cotton was obviously manufactured into yarn and textiles. And muslin is one fine cloth that was manufactured in Sindh even in the 10th century. Findings, my research has led me to read about muslin from Sindh being exported to Egypt, the Mesopotamian civilization at that time, and also there's this connection that when Isa alayhi salam, when Jesus Christ was crucified and brought down from the cross, and the cloth that he was wrapped in was made from the muslin that was imported in Egypt from Sindh.
Really?
Yes. So that's something that really amazed me also, because one doesn't ever think,
like the global trade and how people and culture are connected in ways that one didn't know, and hence like food mapping, the food tells us who we are, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So can you name a few of the quintessentially what is Memon in
Memoni food? Memoni food mein dekho, like I said, salan and chawal, but then there's this pulao which we call akni. Akni is also, the base is that salan itself, and you just put rice in it and it becomes, so akni is an all-time favorite. Then there's this the fish, the pomfret especially. Pomfret has been an all-time favorite for all Memons. Even today, if you just go, Memons are really, they would rather not discover new fish. They would rather go in for the old-time favorite pomfret. And then khichdi. This one khichdi is again a mixture of it's something like porridge. Which you
mix rice dal.
Yes, you mix rice and that chilke wali moong ki dal. So that was because see, Memons have always been very, very simple people. So usually at night for dinner they would always have khichdi.
Memons are primarily Sunni. How did they remain distinct? Because why aren't they just Muslims? Why are we still
Sunni
identifying them as Memons?
Okay, the word actually was distorted into Memon. It was originally called Momin. because Momins are true believers,
That's
right?
correct.
So when they converted, they were named, that whole group of people was called the Momins.
That's right.
Okay, but as time went by, and possibly the dialect as well changed, because from Sindh they're moving on to Bhuj in Kutch, and then they're moving on to Katiawar. So the various integration of the dialects as well.
Zebu, are these the first converts to
Yes,
Islam
yes.
in the subcontinent?
Yes.
Then? Okay.
Which is why they were called Momins, and then that slowly with time it changed from Momin to
the
Memon.
original converts of Muslims in the subcontinent.
Yes.
Then. Can we safely say the Memon community continues to be a trading community?
No, they moved into industries.
I see.
Yes. So,
do you have any food rituals and food customs which are very unique to the community?
Rituals, customs, I would just say कि एक ज़माना था when at deaths people used to have akni and gaठिया. I think any occasion, कोई शादी ब्याह का मौका हो, कुछ भी हो, उसमें ये था कि simple, there was akni or salan and chawal and laddu and gaठिया. That was something that was, उससे हटके कुछ नहीं होता था. उससे हटके literally कुछ नहीं होता था.
Okay. Fabulous. So let's go try out some
Let's go.
Memon khana.
Sure. Let's go.
Thank you, Zebu.
You're most welcome. Thank you for having me.
Not at all.
We came across one such cultural marker in this lovely Memon restaurant. Memon Bites. Khawswe is one such recipe which has become a very Memoni dish.
The basic part is the spaghetti. Then the condiments are there. You have the boneless chicken. Have coriander leaves, chopped coriander, chopped spring onions. You can even put green chilies if you want. You can put chili flakes, red chili flakes if you want. And then to add that crisp, that crunch to it, you put this.
What is this?
This is basically papri, but the original authentic recipe doesn't have papri. It has fried noodles.
Okay. And can you tell me what is the sauce constituent?
That's a curry. That's a coconut-based curry.
Coconut and what?
Coconut and that's it. Coconut and some gram flour to make it a little thick.
Okay.
And they put a little haldi. Usually haldi is not there, but they put just to add color.
Okay. And what does the chicken include?
Chicken is just a basic chicken salan, I would say.
Karachi was built by many communities. Amongst them were many prominent Memons. In step with the community's ethos of the Islamic principle of charity work, masjids were built. They helped develop a growing fishing village of Karachi into the metropolis it is now. Now let's go and learn how to make some amazing dishes. We will see some lovely Memoni recipes from my friend Shabnam Vayani. Let's go check them out. Thank you so much for demonstrating our Memon recipes for us.
My pleasure.
So what are we going to be cooking today?
Okay, the first thing we'll do is we'll make a Memon sweet dish, which is usually made in the winters.
And what is it called?
And it's called Aatha.
Aatha.
And it's meant to be very good for you from a health point of view, usually after girls or women have had babies. And that's supposed to be a really good thing for strengthening your back.
Achha. So should we start?
Let's start. We'll start with the Aatha.
Heat a wok with 4 tablespoons of butter and then add the edible gum. Be careful not to burn it. It puffs up beautifully,
Fascinating process. Do these in batches so the puffing up happens equally. It should take 30 seconds for each batch. Also line a baking tray with some of the heated butter. Add the 2 flours in a little bit of butter, in that same butter, and cook it for about 30 minutes. So you've added now the 2
wheat
flours,
flour and this Singhora flour.
Crush the puffed up gond. Let the flour mix and cook until it is reddish brownish. And now add the crushed gond and stir. Now combine the sugar mixture with the flour mixtures. Finally, add the dried nuts into this mixture. Pour all of this into the prepared tray and let it set overnight outside. You can make slices before you set it so it's easier to serve a day later. Enjoy! And what is our next recipe?
The next thing we'll be doing, we'll do a pulao,
Okay.
which is called Masur Pulao,
Okay.
which is made with minced meat, keema, and whole Masur dal.
Okay.
So you cook the keema and then you fold in the whole Masur, and then it's layered like a biryani.
Alright.
But it's called pulao.
Masur Pulao.
I'm throwing the onions in.
Separately soak the masoor ka dal for at least 30 minutes.
A light brown. I'm going to put in like a teaspoon each of ginger and garlic paste. And after I've sauteed the garlic and ginger, I'm going to throw the minced meat in.
Now add the masalas, cumin, coriander, turmeric, and blend in well.
So before I add in the chili, I'm just going to throw in the tomatoes.
Increase the heat a little bit but keep stirring.
Spices.
Right at the end, blend in the yogurt and stir. Separately, you've fried the potatoes. Add these potatoes now into the mix of the mince. Add half a cup of water and cover it until the potatoes are now completely cooked. This should take about 15 minutes.
So we're going to sprinkle a little bit of garam masala. Mine is homemade, but you can use whatever your preference is. And we'll put the masoor in. I can do it. Thank you. Rice has been boiled with some sabut garam masala, bay leaf, badi ilaichi, clove, whole black peppercorn, and little sabut zeera, and salt and a touch of oil.
In a large deep pot, line it with 2 tablespoons of oil. Then place right at the bottom the al dente rice. On top of that, add the mince and lentils. Then back another layer of rice.
I love saffron.
Yeah, any dessert has to have saffron. Just the flavor changes completely.
Yeah.
Okay.
On top of that, sprinkle a layer of fried onions. Fried onions is an integral part of many Memon dishes.
Traditionally, they would use a cloth. Yes.
Another
and
way of
a
doing
stone
it,
on top. No.
Yeah. Another way of doing it is use aatha.
They
and
could.
seal it.
Yeah.
Before serving, add fresh mint and coriander on top. The next recipe, as I told you earlier, is my favorite one. It had to be part of Pakistan on a Plate's list of heritage recipes.
This is what you buy it as.
Yes, I went to Dorabji
Okay.
market area and we saw beautiful,
Yeah.
like
See,
fresh.
when it's fresh, the whiter this is, that shows you the fresher it is.
Is that how you judge?
That's how you judge. As it gets older, it starts discoloring.
Okay, and can you freeze this?
I've never done
Because
it.
you're in Karachi.
Never done. I wouldn't.
All right.
Not for this dish.
Okay.
Because it will catch moisture.
Here it goes. How we make Lassan bajra ki roti with bharta. Wash dry the green garlic. Chop it in small pieces. Saute it in clarified butter for about 2-3 minutes. Separately, roast an eggplant until it's completely charred and mash it up into a bharta. Separately, combine salt and yogurt and whip it. Add this to the roasted eggplant which you have just mashed. To make the bajra ki roti, you can look at other Pakistan on a plate recipes to see how bajra ki roti is made. Once that's made, crumble it in a blender. Saute the bajra ki roti crumble in clarified butter. Add the chopped lassan. Combine it together. The rule of thumb is lassan bajra proportion is 1:2. Eat the lassan bajra with the eggplant together. It is one of the most delicious recipes I've had. The Sindhi and regional influences of the Kutch and the tropics has combined also using bananas in some of the Memon recipes. Cooking bananas. Bananas not only eaten as fruit. Here goes, kela ka lassan. It's healthy, it's good for you.
So this is about 6 bananas. So I'm thinking we'll put in like 3 tablespoons of sugar.
Have you ever thought of using gold instead?
I only know of this being made like this.
Because it's wanting to maintain the color, no?
Yeah. But there might be people who might be doing it with the gur also. You do want it to become a little soft and a little browner than this, which once the sugar starts cooking it will.
Memon recipes are a reflection of the coastal flavors, the heritage of living in many parts of the subcontinent, Asia and Africa. We see these influences in their achars, puris, rotis and snacks, and the vegetarians who converted to non-vegetarians. The spices from the travels of Burma, Upper Sindh to Africa and afar, the Momins of Pakistan have a very diverse culinary culture. Delicious, truly enriching Pakistani culinary traditions. I hope you enjoyed these delectable recipes. Try them. Until next time, Khuda Hafiz.